Welcome back to JKLive here at Citizen Television. It's a full house today, folks. That's right. Right next to me, Stephen Disho, former Speaker, Kiambu County. Right next to him, Ndegwa Wahome, still Speaker, Nyandarua County, for 2 more days. Then he'll be former.
Yes,
right next to Peter Salachi, former Speaker, Nairobi County, now MP, Dagoretti North.
Thank you.
Right next to her, Johnson Osoy, former Speaker, Kajiado County.
Good.
Welcome all.
Thank you.
And thank you for your patience.
Thank you. We appreciate it.
So today was the day, 2 of you gave up your speakership,
Yeah,
right?
of course, yes. It was the last day.
What was the last day like? Was it relief?
Well, it's kind of a relief. It's also an opportunity to give others an opportunity to serve so that you can also explore some other things to do up there in life.
Yeah.
But it was good to have the experience of working in the devolved unit for 5 years. It was not easy, though, but some of us are made of some tougher metals. But it was a good day anyway.
Yeah.
And we have new speakers, young actually, and we only wish them well, that they have now what it takes to run an institution called the Assembly. And it's not an easy job, but with determination.
Yeah.
And with energy that one needs. Of course, praying God, it's possible, it's doable.
Johnson Osoy, how was your last day?
Well, with mixed feelings. One, I have served for 10 years, both terms unopposed, and it cannot have been without a reason. I have staff who I employed in 2013 as chairman of the Public Service Board, and saying goodbye was not easy, both on my end and on their end. I saw some of them crying today and taking their last photos with me as if it's the end of the world, and I'm reassuring them that the Assembly is a body corporate and with perpetual succession, and this is government and it's going to be there. And Johnson Osoy is going to serve Kenya in a different stage. 2, it was also an opportunity to thank God and thank people of Kajiado for trusting me for 10 good years unopposed, you know, to start a legislature from having taken over from county councils, the local authorities, that you remember, Jeff, were established by an act of parliament, and building a legislature from scratch, you know, where we did not even have anything like standing orders. We didn't have speaker's rules. We had to apply traditions and practices of parliament with necessary modifications. We had to employ staff. Some of the staff I found in Kajiado, for instance, 11 of them from the local authorities. The only one who had some semblance of some academic credentials was a borehole operator, you know. The rest didn't quite know what needs to be done. So when I advertised for some of the positions like Hansard reporter, one young man thought Hansard was the name of a white man, and it was not a job. So I leave an assembly today, 10 years down the line, which is robust, which is respected in the community of assemblies, which is able to enact pieces of legislation that have equal force of law like any other legislature. So very proud.
Well done, well done. Ndegwa Wahome, you have a couple more days.
Yes.
But you've had a rough time being Speaker of the Nyandarua County Assembly, haven't you?
Yes, really, Jeff, it has been very difficult. But I thank God that I'm going to hand over, having been the Speaker for the last 10 years. It has not been easy. And actually, it is an assembly that was closed down for 8 months without any activities. And I think it is the only, from my research, the only assembly in the Commonwealth to have been closed down when it was not a time of war. And I think we go down in history on that one.
And the reason was?
And the reason is only that you are questioning, you are just demanding for accountability, which is your constitutional and statutory jurisdiction, and it is your province to ask that when people use public monies and they are put in positions of trust, that they should be accountable to the people. But despite all of that, in Nyandarua, we started from a church because our headquarters all through from independence, we knew them to be in Nyahururu. But then when we came to devolution in 2013, the people of Nyandarua clearly said they wanted to exercise their sovereignty fully by going within the boundaries of Nyandarua. And I went to the PCA Church or Karao, an old building, and from there we have been able to build one of the best chambers in this country, fully automated. Just like the National Assembly, it is paperless. I've been able to do a 5-story building office complex. I've been able to do the Speaker's residence. We have done extensive legislation, especially on the areas of agriculture, livestock, on health issues, and water, and even roads. And as I leave, after 10 years, I really appreciate the support I've had from the people of Nyandarua, despite all the challenges and all the hurdles and boulders that have been put on the way. And I'm looking forward, as a happy person, to hand over to another person to be the Speaker. I don't intend to defend the seat, mainly because I stood for governor of Nyandarua. And clearly I thought it would not be ethical for again to go there and try to be the Speaker and to work with a person I want to dislodge in 2027. So I think I will look for another platform in this country.
Very honorable.
So that
very honorable.
I can serve.
Beatrice Olachi, you actually resigned
Yes.
as Nairobi County Speaker.
Yes.
You were almost hounded out of office.
Yes.
How rough was it in Assembly?
Well, you see, one of the things that you have to understand, especially for Nairobi, and let me not speak about the other county assemblies, Nairobi has a lot of interest. And if you really ask anyone, why were you being thrown out, nobody will give you an answer anyway. So that's the most interesting part of the whole story. But the good thing is that we came and we just bonded again with the same honorable members. And in that few 2 years that I was there with them, we were able to now restructure properly the assembly, rebuild the foundations of their human resource, and restructure staff. As Chairman was saying, we normally call him Chairman.
Yeah, thank you.
That you'd find one person, I mean your papers, when you look at the person who is manning your HR, you have a person who has a PhD in HR, who has worked in the national government, but the boss is a person who has a diploma, and just because they knew each other at the time they were employing each other. So when you restructure that in merit, because you take everyone to an interview and you restructure, you find so many things happening. And many people would wonder, why would I do that? But it's because, you see, the moment you appreciate the technical team that you have, just like in Parliament, it is important to put merit so that everyone respects each other, so that you don't find what has been happening in national government, where you have someone who was just employed yesterday, does not have experience. You have someone who has worked for 30 years, has experience, is the right technical person and with papers, but you become their boss. And so they kill the service completely. You find civil servants not performing, not that they can't perform, because they are disappointed that indeed you found me into a grade, and now you come in and you become a boss, and a very ruthless boss. I would tell you, we have some staff, I would look and wonder, if you can perform this way, and you're a boss, and this is how you treat others, and it's a privilege. And that is one thing that every Kenyan, I think, we've reached a point where you feel when they are looking for a job, they're very good. The moment they get a job, you turn around and become a very different person, and it's very disappointing. So those are some of the things. So for me, I think I'm proud. By the time I was leaving, why I left, I know I've never told anyone. I was not supposed to impeach Sonko. It was not my duty that I was given the speakership to come one day to impeach Sonko. No, it was none of my business. So I realized do I really want to impeach Sonko? It's not me. Let me leave, and somebody else will come and do this. Because I just asked myself, really? Fine, we've had our own issues. And we never quarreled with him, by the way. Never. Even to date, if you ask. Never, by the way.
So why did you leave?
Because it was none of my business to impeach him as a speaker. No. And I would not have gone to do a job that I know this is not, it's none of my business. And we were just doing things in terms of haunting each other. And it doesn't make sense at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I asked myself, am I supposed to do all the dirty duties? I've done enough. I think it's time to leave before you come and do the last dirty duty that will come to haunt you for nothing.
Stephen, let me ask you this. Why is it so chaotic in county assemblies? With MCAs and all, why is it so chaotic?
Well, thank you, Jeff. I think one of the reasons that I have researched during my 5-year tenure in the Assembly of Kiambu is that actually when the law was being structured, there is nobody or nowhere that supervises the devolved units, that is the counties. There is a parent ministry called devolution, but it does nothing towards looking at the welfare of the counties or what is happening, what is the governor doing, what is the clerk of the assembly doing, what are the people in the assembly and the employees doing, like other ministries where there is a mechanism to supervise and see that things don't go haywire. This is a situation which actually must be corrected now legally, where there must be a structural way of dealing and looking and managing devolution. Because what we have today are small gods, untouchable. And it doesn't matter what they do, you can take them nowhere.
You talk about governors.
There are two types of leadership in the county devolved units. One is the governors in the executive, and also when we now come in the assemblies, there is a guy there who is a small god called the clerk. This guy will not want to be asked any question, as Mheshimiwa he has said. This is the guy now who manages the funds. Like in Kiambu, our ceiling was 1.2 billion shillings. And as the speaker, who is the head of the institution, it is the responsibility of the speaker to know how that money has been spent from the first single cent to the last cent. Now, this guy doesn't want to be asked any question about that. Now, when you try to go out of your way and ask and force your way, because it is also provided for in the County Assembly Service Board Act or the Services Act, that the speaker and the board are the one who exercises budgetary control of the service. Now, that is the provision in, I think, Section 11 of the Act. When you now try to impose that one, they resist. And the next thing they will do, and this is all my experience, also Mheshimiwa here, maybe I don't know what the others, but most of the speakers in this country, when you become too much now towards insisting on the accountability and the reporting of how much money has been spent, what they do is now to start sponsoring your removal. Impeachment. I went through that for about 4 times.
And each time they failed?
Oh, they failed, all of them, because one, the only thing that a speaker can do to avoid being impeached is when you have don't provide any ground for impeachment. Meaning, operate above board. Yeah. Don't involve yourself in those two things, hapa, pale. Yeah. The clerk would like to hold you and give you some niceties, go to America, go there, trying to continue. If you refuse and you really become uncooperative, the next thing, and they are very powerful, including some staff who will create stories and then hand over to MCAs. And you don't have 100% support of MCAs. Yeah. I was elected by 71 MCAs out of 92. So even the 92, they will know who didn't vote for you. And so they'll come with impeachment staff, and it is given notice. So, but what can succeed in an impeachment is if there is provable ground that surely you have done this. And I want to give an example of Kiambu. The first speaker was impeached. And what I gathered from the information I got is that this man was sponsored to go to somewhere, I think, in Brazil. And then, allegedly, he didn't travel. But he was paid. And this is the clerk who authorizes your payment. But he knows at the back of his mind that this guy didn't travel. And therefore, we pay him. And he's paid the money. Immediately you receive that money in your account, you are done, my friend. So the best thing, and I would like to advise the new speakers, you must be very careful with those characters called clerks. Unless you play his game, you are there, my father, on hellfire. And for the 5 years you're going to be there, my friend, it is going to be hell. Unless you are tough yourself and you are made of some metal that is not ordinary.
Johnson Osoy, Chairman, do you agree?
No, while the Speaker's job is quite honorable, it's not an easy task at all, especially in the county, in the counties. Some of the challenges I found out in 10 years, one of them is a culture issue. Remember, we are coming from local authorities.
Yes.
We keep recycling leaders at the ballot. So somebody who served as a councillor, who had no rules there were no standard operating procedures as councillors, they keep coming back. They come with the bad mannerisms. I'm telling you that even the dress code takes time to learn. You know, they come back, they are councillors, they still think this is, they want to do things the same way. Number two is, you know, Kenyans are an interesting lot. We promulgated a constitution. We expect so much from it. We establish county legislatures or county governments. And then in the county legislature, we enact enabling legislation requiring that governors must be of this caliber. The officers who work under governors, like the county executive committee members, the chief officers who are the accounting officers, must be degree holders from universities recognized in Kenya. And then you go to the MCA, who is supposed to oversight billions of shillings which are meant for service delivery at the counties. And you say that all you need is a national identity card because you need to be a citizen of Kenya, an adult of sound mind. The opposite of those three is insanity, you know, being a minor or being a foreigner. While I don't advocate for assemblies to look like faculties of universities, but I think basic education should be a requirement. You cannot have assemblies with 100% illiterate members who are supposed to interrogate the budget. The budget is complex, Jeff, I'm telling you. These members, my colleagues will tell you, and members of parliament will tell you, it is a legislative process. You cannot proceed with service delivery without the budget. So if you can't write your name, for heaven's sake, just look for a job elsewhere. Don't go and become a legislator. But the law in this country allows every Tom, Dick, and Harry to go for it. So I find that to be a challenge. Lastly, assemblies, to a large extent, dependent on the county executive in terms of their resources. They have one treasury. The governor has immense or sweeping powers over that. They appoint the CC Finance, the CEO Finance, and they work on instructions from the governor. So when the exchequer releases are done, the governor can just sit and call his team and say, don't release so much to the assembly. Release so much. You know? So
Did that happen to you?
Oh, yeah. Many times. Many times.
So it is
it like sabotage, or is just
sabotage?
Yeah, sabotage. And so he who pays the piper calls the tune. Yes. It becomes very difficult. And I think I want to conclude by saying that the four of us seated here have had impeachment attempts on all of us. for different reasons. As Beatrice Serachi says, Mheshimiwa, if you ask them later on why they were impeaching you, they don't know. They don't know. And so it's to those who are coming, I don't know whether I'm jumping the gun, but those who have taken over from us, it's not an easy job, but it's an honorable position. It's a position that is very critical in ensuring that counties work, because the governors and speakers are not best of friends. Right. I can tell you. Maybe you are coming to that.
But I'll tell you. What is the hierarchy, though? Tell me, what is the hierarchy? I mean, governors, obviously, the county bosses, right?
The county chiefs.
Yes.
Yeah, I think to start from the praise of the chaos at the assemblies, I think the position of the speaker is very vulnerable. And it is very easy to threaten, to intimidate the speaker, because you know that it will be very easy to remove the speaker and you continue with your life. And maybe that is why in the Commonwealth, especially in Britain, the speakers were to be searched, to be looked for, to agree to sit on the speaker's seat. And several of them, when they sat there, they were beheaded. Us, actually, we have literally been beheaded. When you see us here, when you have gone through 6 impeachments, like myself.
You went through 6? 6
years I've gone through 6 impeachments.
At least I only did 1.
And actually I've checked. The nearest to me, I think, is Dichu.
With 4.
Yes. And, so these chaos are brought because the position of the speaker has not been secured. And we are treated as if we are the speakers of the National Assembly. The National Assembly, the nominated members are only 12. In the county assemblies is 1/3. They are enough to move a motion against you. And these nominated, mainly they are loyal to the governor. Mostly, the people who cause the instability in the assemblies are the governors. They are the most interested people on what happens at the assemblies, because they are the people to answer questions about the billions that are coming to the counties. So, Jeff, it would be very important, and I'm happy that our sister here, Rachi, is in National Assembly, others are in the Senate, and others are doing well elsewhere, even in the Ministry of Devolution, that we have to secure this position of the speaker.
Tell me something, how did you survive? How did you survive the 10 years then?
What has happened is that when you follow the law, and the framework of the law, fidelity to the law, then you are safe. Because at all the times, actually, even when they pronounced they had removed me, they did not have even the numbers. But impunity, total impunity. They just pronounced that one voted against Ndegwa. But surely it is only 20. But they do that pronouncement.
Yeah.
Then you have your supporters swear affidavits, you go to court, and that impeachment is nullified. They will go with the grounds, you go to court. They have nothing, even a shred of paper. To accuse you about. But if you get into those issues of mismanagement of funds, that you are not observant of the Constitution and the Public Finance Management Act, then you are in trouble. You remain there as a speaker but as a slave. You will not even perform 10% of your duties because there is a sword of Damocles always hanging over your head. So it is a difficult task, and I'm saying the Senate must intervene to ensure that a speaker who is being removed must also, just like the governors, go through Senate. So that at the Senate, we will have somewhere a sanity, you will be listened to, and you will be processed in a dignified manner. I have seen speakers, the motion being brought in the morning, despite the provisions of the standing orders, and the County Government Act, and the County Assembly Service Act. And a motion is brought in the morning, like it happened in Kakamega, and at 2 o'clock you are being removed, when actually the law provides from a framework of 21 days.
Yeah.
But they remove you within 1 day. They don't care. Let him go to court. So yes. I think we need to protect the speakers of county assemblies for devolution to work, and for governors and the executives to be accountable to the monies that come to the counties.
Selachi, you say it happened to you?
Oh, yeah. You see, I had gone to Malindi, first of all, to present a paper for affirmative action for Nairobi so that they can have funds to assist the informal sector. So you're just in a meeting, and you're told in Nairobi, by the way, you are being impeached. You're supposed to appear by 1 to defend yourself.
And you're in Malindi?
And you're in Malindi, and you left when you knew there's nothing. I mean, you have not done anything wrong to anyone. But, and I mean, in terms of issues of graft and all that, I mean, for me, it was neither here or there. So I follow the law, follow the law. So by the time you're finishing, they have impeached you. And everyone was told there's no, you see, you do it in a decorum way. For them, they were told you come shouting. That yes, you shout. Everyone to know you have voted. So those who didn't shout were like 4 or 5. And they went through a rough time, a very rough time. And I think what I would want to tell the honorable members is that if you are coming to the Assembly as a honorable member, then be a honorable member. If you're coming to the Assembly, you're a honorable member, you are the staff, and you want to do everything, then you will kill your own institution. Because one of the things that I've realized is that people come, you want to, again, become a technical person, but yet you're a honorable member, you know very well you're a honorable member, and that's where the conflict starts. It starts with the staff, and then within the county governments, and not just Nairobi, I think one of the things that needs to be relooked at after 10 years is how did we employ? And is there a way members can now start going to other counties? You are employed in Nairobi, but you can be transferred to work. And I think there is need for even the county governments and the national government to agree on that, so that someone does not work for, I mean, will you work your whole lifetime in that place?
In your village.
In your village. So I think there's time that public service looks at it properly, and you can't, because the remuneration is the same.
By the way, Chairman here was reminding me, hold on, you've served as senator, you've served as speaker,
yes,
and now you're MP.
Yes.
What is that? And CS.
Yes.
What is it? You like punishment or?
Well, no, that's a privilege and grace from God. That at least I can understand. I can stand and say where the senators have their own, the challenges they will face always. That you are in Nairobi, you're a senator, and so things are moving in the county. If we do not enhance and strengthen, and I know there's that development committee that the governor is supposed to put in place, where all members who are elected and the senator will sit, I think, quarterly to understand how the county is moving on. If they do those committees, it will assist even the senator. But also senators should now come out after 10 years. I think it's important for them, especially when the CIDP public participation starts, for also them to be part and process, so that they understand the priorities that are being picked by their governors and what people are saying in the different wards, that this is what we will want to see. So that when you're coming to receive the Auditor General's report, then you have more knowledge on what you're going to question, what you're going to ask. But if you're just waiting for the Auditor General's report and the Controllers of Budget report, then you'll always be very, very, it's like you have no idea where your county is, where it is headed, and you'll always find them fighting, but you'll never understand why they're in conflict. So that is one thing. Then you have, the senator has also an opportunity to come to the House once in a while, just to speak to the members. And so if all those things were being done in the right way, then you'll have that control in terms of even members will feel comfortable. If there's an issue, we can first go to the senator before we engage into the conflicts that we normally have. But then it comes again when the governor is threatened. Threatened by imaginations that you know very well, Speaker Ndegwa maybe has authority, is a lawyer, understands what is happening. And so you're threatened by that. So what do you come and do? You split the members. And so there are those who you'll be giving some incentives, and their work is just one, to just come whenever there's anything, even a bill that you have not, the governor has not sponsored, but it's a bill to support the county, you will come and make sure that bill does not go through.
What, like paranoia, is that?
Oh yes, it's complete paranoia, complete paranoia.
Because the issue of chaos, actually it is very bad for this country. And when you take into account the billions that are going to the counties, and with this kind of chaos, which are artificial and man-made, they are not an accident. they are meant to ensure that accountability does not happen. So we shall continue releasing billions to the counties, but our people don't see the fruits of these billions and devolution at large. So, and the main issue is resources. What we need also is to free the assemblies so that they are able to manage their own finances without any interference. I've tried to fight that as the chairman of the County Assemblies Forum. He started it. Yep. And we have a bill in the Senate. We hope that it will materialize so that when assemblies get their money, because the governors will ensure they don't release money to the County Assembly of Nyandarua. And then he will call the MCAs at night and tell them it is because Degwa is not working with me. If you remove Degwa, then all your money will be with you. And that will be the cause of the chaos the following day. The governors are doing that.
They do that?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Just to sabotage.
Happen.
Actually, sorry for cutting you short, Chairman. I told you I've done my research for the last 5 years. The answer to all this is to have the county assemblies have like what we have in the National Assembly, Public Service Commission, where the money from the Treasury, for example, in the National Assembly, does not go through the President, for the President now to release money to the National Assembly. Their money goes from the Treasury directly to the Parliamentary Service Commission. Yes. So what we need now, and this is what needs to be amended in the law, is to divorce money from the Treasury to the assemblies through the governor or through the executive. Let the assemblies have their own money directly from the Treasury to their account and pay. Insofar as it's going to go through the governor, he is the one who is going to be controlled. Like in Kiambu, we had a governor who would refuse to release even salaries because the MCAs have disagreed with him over a certain matter. And people go for the 18th and 20th is when he is releasing the money. What terrible thing. But the other solution is we must have a ministry of devolution that is working. Actually, even like today, the members are here, will agree with me. It's as if there is no ministry of devolution. Ask yourself, what does that CS do? Insofar as the counties are concerned, he should behave like the minister, the CS for agriculture, the CS for transport, CS for education. He has failed right into the counties. But our CS devolution leaves the assemblies and the counties to fight there, and he's just like the case of Nyandarua. When this speaker was being impeached, and there were no grounds, the minister or the CS, the cabinet secretary for devolution, ought to have come in and rein on those people and tell them, hey, what you are doing is not permissible. We had a County Government Act, Cap 265, that before the county councils did anything to remove as a clerk or do anything, the minister for local government, and they were very powerful. Ntimama, we remember. Joseph Kamodo, we remember.
Musalia.
There was nothing the county councils would do until and unless it has been sanctioned by the Minister for Local Government. That is the exact formulation that today's Cabinet Secretary for Devolution should do. Otherwise, he's just sitting there. The speakers are being roasted. They are at the mercy of the governor as far as money is concerned, and he does nothing. So we either abolish that ministry.
Jeff, I really don't really agree with my friend on that one. To allow a minister powers of a government, which is not part of, I think it is very dangerous. Under Article 96 of the Constitution, it is very clear that Senate protects the counties and their governments. Yes. What I think has been the problem, and in Nyandarua, this chaos would not have escalated if we had a senator who was interested with what is happening in Nyandarua. My senator never said anything in Parliament. He was happy. He is the closest buddy to the governor. Right. They are moving over and thinking that the speaker is talking a lot in funerals. But at the end of the day is when the monies for the county are being siphoned. I had to push my way to the Senate, to take the petition to the Senate. And my senator thought that I was undermining him. But at the end of the day, I was able to sit with the right Honorable Rusaka and the committee of Mutura Kilonzo Jr., and I really appreciate him and Governor Sakaja, and they ensured that petition was read on the floor of the Senate. That is when issues started stabilizing in Nyandarua. Otherwise, to give the Minister for Local Government powers over the counties, it would be very dangerous. It is issues of policy. The Minister should keep off operations at the counties. Let us deal with the Senate, and the Senate should be able even to process all the issues concerning the speakers and everybody else within devolution.
Yes, I wish to respectfully disagree with the Speaker of Kiambu, because then that idea would negate the very principle behind devolution. We enacted Chapter 11 of the Constitution with an attempt to decentralize from Nairobi. What he is suggesting is bringing us back to Nairobi, to the CS. Now, I think, and Article 6.2 of the Constitution is very clear that counties are distinct units, that they are independent, you know. So I think we don't need to have a powerful ministry in the sense of a CS who can sanction what happens in the counties. What we need, and this, Mr. Speaker, sir, is the reason why the Ministry of Devolution was created, I think, is that it's important for national government to set standards across the 47 counties. Whether you are talking about health, whether you are talking about devolution, matters policy are important. My colleagues alluded earlier to the fact that the governors and their executives, so do the MCAs, lack capacity in some instances in enacting pieces of legislation or sponsoring what is called public bills that would come to the House. The Ministry of Devolution, I recall, came up with model laws across board on what is called devolved functions under Schedule 4, Part 2 of the Constitution, so that assemblies didn't need to reinvent the wheel. The other issue is to build capacity in the counties. They collaborate with the donor community. The ministry is able to work with the donor working group for devolution, so that capacity is built in the county assemblies. Lastly, because I know time is gone, I think I agree with my colleagues. We need to have the Speaker's impeachment being a matter that is too dire in nature. Let the MCAs not have the final say, whether they are impeaching the Speaker or anyone, or the governor, like the case is for the governor. Two, amend.
So after MCAs, then what? Go to another level?
Go to the Senate.
To the Senate. Let the Senate listen to and give an opportunity for the Speaker to defend himself. Yeah. And I'm happy, Jeff, that you have us here tonight, because the four of us have no interest in being county speakers anymore. We are not in office, you know. Yes. So we are actually speaking to the issues that are important for devolution without being biased, because we are not in that office anymore. And we think if they do the things we are saying it should be done, we will thrive. We'll have thriving counties, and developing counties is a developing Kenya.
And speakers,
I think,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
The most important thing is looking at the ministry. The ministry was meant to bridge that relationship in terms of other ministries with functions that have been devolved to counties. Now, what I would say is that what the ministry has done, it's sort of forgot its function completely, because we have functions that come and you're told these are functions going to the county. But if the ministry was the in-between, then you come and sit down before the functions are even devolved. You have sat down, you have agreed with this mother ministry, this function is going, these are the resources, this is how, and if there's anything that is needed in terms of policy, in terms of ensuring you have a secondment of those who have expertise to move with the function first, then it would have been the best for the Ministry of Devolution. But then you find that the Ministry of Devolution only comes in when there's foreign trips and now, and then they went and made it like an incentive. So you find guys will just go, give some incentive. Even when you're being told foreign trip, you don't have money, you'll find people just traveling. Yeah. So for me, the most important thing that the ministry should be doing now is after 10 years, have they done an evaluation so that they can also come and tell Kenyans, after 10 years, we've been able to see devolution in terms of this is functioning so well. Why is it that we are having even governors, every time they come into office, each one of them is still complaining about ghost workers, about not digitizing, about all those things. And these are things, if devolution was really monitoring devolution, then before even the governor comes in, you'll have already flagged out and say, within this county, you've not been able to follow the different circulars, either that have been coming from the Ministry of Public Service and the Ministry of Health, and all these things. But that is one function that they need to go back to. And they need to also come out and be, at least 3 months, when the Control of Budget is bringing out the report, the Ministry of Devolution should be aware of some of the challenges that are happening within the counties. So I wish it would have done that. For the clerks now, because I listened to my speaker, I would say it depends on how you have that relationship.
With the clerk.
Because also it will be not very fair, and I'm sorry to say this, to bring politics within, again, the civil service that you have. You'll have killed then that assembly, because then it becomes very political. And when you are a clerk also, and you have decided to play the politics, then the disciplinary committee that is there must come in. So those structures must function, and they are there. And therefore, one of the things I would really pledge and request the new honorable members coming in and their staff, that each one of you have a role. You have a role to play politically. They have a role to advise you, to give you technical support so that you are able to function within your wards. But if you are coming in a role of employment, because I've realized even when we have ceilings, you find you're being pushed so hard that now that they are moving, you must employ. I think it is time we also learn that in terms of policy, in terms of employment, there are also ceilings. In those ceilings, when you are employing and you don't have the resources, then you will find yourself with this thing called pending bills in a government, where in an assembly, you should not have a pending bill. Because what we do, we consume. We are not like the executive, where they implement projects and all that. So the projects that you have are very lean projects. But you find the county assembly members will want to know now what is the board about to do and how are we sharing. And I think those are some of the things I think I found myself being a bit tough, but not tough, just open, because I think it will be very wrong. And I've always said, I've told people, this thing of Kenyans saying, what's in it for me? Put it on the table. It has to stop, because this is how we've killed our countries, Jeff.
So you were saying something?
I was saying this, Jeff.
Yes.
I have a problem. The cries of Kenyans all over this country from every county is unsurmountable. Now, then my question is, who is supposed to address the problems that are obtaining today? I want to take the example of Nairobi. Nairobi now, there is a Senate, and there's that Ministry of Devolution. Yet it took the president himself to come to Nairobi, and come and now manage it with NMS. Why was NMS brought? And there was Senate, and there was Ministry. Yet it was told, come now, because the Senate has been defeated, the Ministry is not doing anything, and there's nothing that is going on in this county. Please now, the general body, come general body, please help me. And the general body is the one who finished where was the Minister of Devolution? Where was
that's why I've said
where was Senate?
I mean, that's why I've said it has a weakness in terms of bridging in what they were supposed to do. And also, the Constitution allows, Article 187, Article 190. It's very clear. When the president realizes things are not functioning in a county,
That's okay.
or when the citizens themselves of that county, and you remember Makueni at one point, you decide to collect signatures, 50,000, and you close this thing for some time so that people sober up, and then you come back, and I can see Makueni sobered up after the citizens themselves decided
we can... that there's a weak...
There's a weak link.
There's a weak link
That's
somewhere.
What I'm saying. It's a weak link.
Between the ministry and the
policy
Senate,
direction.
which is supposed to, now manage devolution and the counties. Yeah. Now, that is my problem. So I'm asking, is it a weak ministry we have? What should be done?
It's a weak person.
Senate, what should be done?
Not a ministry.
But there must be, 10 years down the line, or is it 20 now? 10 years down the line, there must be something that must be done to handle devolution and the counties, because things there are out of hand.
I think they got a good
I think, Jeff, the legal infrastructure in this country, the legal regime, is all-encompassing. And I think the kind of laws we have, I don't think in Kenya we need even to go and enact any more legislations. No. We just require to implement what we have. What we have is what we call lackster. By those people, implementers, the executive, that nothing happens. You find that we have blueprints which have been implemented in Indonesia, in Singapore, in South Korea, and those countries are getting into first world countries. But here we have those blueprints. We only talk about them. We have the best intellectuals in our universities in research. But these things are never implemented.
And the reason is?
The reason is that we don't, as she was
all of
saying,
us Kenyans.
We don't even audit ourselves.
Us.
We just finish. When the sun comes from the east and goes to the west, we are okay. We go and sleep. And we start the following day. But we don't audit ourselves. It started in the east and to the west. What has happened during this day? Where was the mischief that requires to be cured? What has been happening in Nyandarua that we can lock the doors of a House of Parliament for 8 months and nobody talks about it. And there was public expenditure, everything was happening. There is Beatrice Rush here, the Speaker of Nairobi, is locked out despite court orders, and nobody is talking about it. We have enforcement agencies. We have the DCI. They can be able, when it is politics, to crash into City Assembly and arrest Benson Mutura and handcuff him in his chambers, which is privileged. Ego. But because they are playing politics. But when we want to work for this country, we don't do what we are supposed to do. Beatrice Erachi, after she got her court order, should not have been out of that assembly for even 2 days to be able to take care of the billions that are coming to Nairobi. The billions that are coming to Nyandarua. For 8 months, nobody knows what happened. And I expect that some people will rot in committee from Nyandarua. The billions, almost 30 that came to Nyandarua, there's nothing to show for it in Nyandarua. But Dego Home, because he is thought to be afraid of Deputy President Ruto, and that he is the chairman of the County Assemblies Forum, he is thought that with Ruto they want to bring down the BBI. The assembly has to be closed down. Dego has to be removed as a speaker so that he can leave the seat of the CAF chair. So this kind of dirty politics, Jeff, will not take this country anywhere. And the laws, the guidelines, the entire infrastructure is there. It's a matter of implementing, doing what is right for this country. And we have the biggest potential, and we shall be able to move our country forward.
But you see, for all that to change, Jeff, I think it is for all the institutions. And not just institutions by name. The people who work in these institutions. You see, this game we played within the Jubilee administration of when you have an issue with the other, all you do is play politics and you bring people and you use them to become the pawns like a chess. It was the worst we ever did. And I'm hoping it's not going to happen again. And I'm just hoping that even if it happens, can they close themselves in a door somewhere and sort it out? Than bringing it to the public, and you use the public, you kill people's businesses because you have conflict to each other. And I think in one of the books, when I'm doing the Chronicles of City Hall, which I have started anyway. In one chapter, I just want to bring in, when a government decides to become the business person within your own government, and what conflicts come in, and how people get to suffer until you become enemies, not because of anything else. Business is the worst you can have in a government. Johnson
Osoy, are we our own worst enemies?
Yes, we actually lack work ethic. As a society, I think we have a long way to go because we just don't uphold the rule of law. Counties are not any different. When we speak about devolution, one of the challenges that I needed to speak to is the issue of high-handedness of governors in terms of controlling resources, to the extent that I would call it, and I used to call it when I was chairman before my brother took over from me, devolution beyond the county headquarters. Governors to date are able to determine or decide which ward gets development projects and which one does not, depending on which MCA is friendly to the governor or not. And that was not the spirit. That was not the aspiration of Kenyans under Chapter 11. So Kenyans, and I really hope, as my sister Elachi is saying, that as we move to a new administration, by the way, Jeff, they don't need to look further for expertise in devolution. Right here
on the
with
bench.
JKL, you know,
yes,
to fix some of those things.
But they don't like to listen. They won't.
Exactly.
And they won't listen.
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 Because of their own selfish interests.
Selfishness. And the worst is you're so selfish, but you don't know. And you don't want to be advised. And in fact, when you advise, I realized even in government, if you decide to advise, then you become an enemy.
Of this.
Because everyone likes going to say, Your Excellency, I have done this paper, I have done this. But you don't remember those who have done. You don't even have the opportunity, or I mean, that courtesy of just telling His Excellency, the President, I had a team, and I wish you meet this team. And this is the team that has prepared this. And so you present it, knowing very well it's courtesy of many others. That is also another thing that has really killed the spirit of good people in Kenya. So people have reached a point and they're like, you are going, you'll present this paper, then you'll have to make the project, then you'll have to make the money, then you'll have to make, I don't know, the per diems, everything. So everybody becomes so selfish, and everyone closes. And even those who have at least the will of patriotism, they will want to do it for the country, they keep themselves off because they are wondering, what a society are we in? It's a man-eat society that looks at me and me alone.
Chairman.
And Jeff, you know, we commercialized politics in this country. So that today, Jeff, you run for governor of Nairobi, and you are putting in so much, the first thing you want to do when you win is return on investment. It's the same as buying a treasury bill. You know?
Correct.
And that from the MCA all the way, it's sad because the West does it differently. So the moment we look at it as a commercial enterprise, then people go out of their way to do the things we see them doing in the counties. Running for a governor is not a cheap idea. So,
actually, Jeff, I'm looking at a time that I walk into an office as a speaker, and I look at the code letters of the law and the spirit, and I do it, and I don't have to look over my shoulder to see who is watching. That an MCA will go and do their work. The governor do the same things. But for now, the law is not enough. You must look beyond the law to know what is politically correct. And that we shall never move this country.
Stephen Disho, is there hope?
Well, there is hope because we are people who also believe in God. The biggest question I ask myself is, if you go to any village in this country and ask Wanjikos there about devolution, would they praise it? Would they say, oh, thank God the devolution came? Yeah. If you go to most of the rural areas, the problems that were there in 10 years ago, they are still subsisting. The roads, water, schools, vis-a-vis the billions that, like, let's take my county, Kiambu. Kiambu, this year, I passed a budget of 16 billion shillings. That's the budget for Kiambu 2022-2023. It's the one I assented as a speaker. Mm. And then I went back 10 years ago. The same amount of money, it's 160 billion shillings.
In 10 years?
10 years. Now, where is that money in Kiambu County? 160 billion shillings? Where is it?
Well, not just Kiambu. I think there is a county where a trillion.
No, a trillion. Of course, you know it up there.
Yes.
But I'm asking this.
No, tell me, I don't know it.
Yes, my brother.
Which one?
Your county received 160 billion shillings in the last 10 years.
Good Lord.
But go to your sub-county now, Kiambaa.
Yes.
And tell me whether there's a reflection of 160 billion shillings that Kiambu County received. Yes. There is not. So where does it go? What happens? This is the $1 trillion question. So the solution that you are asking and saying, what do we do, is this. Unless there's somebody who is rotting in committee.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Unless there's somebody who is in Shimoratewa or Kodiaga.
Are we going to do it?
Huh? Unless there's somebody there because Anasomewa, you stole this money.
But I hope we can do that.
No, this time I'm saying, unless you have such a guy there, then the next governor who will come in Nyandaro in 2027 or whatever, you say, oh, you know so-and-so is in committee. Yes, I don't want to touch. And because we are all playboys, we in mchezo to Jeff.
Yeah, it's a bad
160 billion in my county, Kiambu. Where is it? Yeah. 1 trillion shillings in a county Flani. Where is it?
Yes.
Yet nobody has been called.
And they have not changed lives, and they still cry.
And actually, Jeff,
food security.
We talk about teen millionaires.
Yeah.
That we are minting teen millionaires in the villages. That when you see a good vehicle or a good house coming up, that must be a person working in government,
the county,
or a person working with the government. And those are less than 1% of the population in that village. So 99% are languishing in poverty. When the resources are there, they are available. But impunity is all over. That I know that I just needed to steal 1 billion and I keep 200 million for bribery. Then
I go to court. I'm safe. I come back and go via another county as a governor. Actually, I mean, it's wrong for this country. I find it very disheartening. And the worst is,
Malaysia.
We still go to church, and church will appreciate it.
And call ourselves godly.
Will even call you, and they thank you. And you have murdered, I don't understand the country. But anyway, having said that and having said that, the worst is, Jeff, our citizens are suffering.
Yes.
Because of all this that we are doing. Yeah. And when I hear even us fighting back and forth on CDF, I don't know on what, I ask myself, you have 6 million children who have passed through CDF. That is how they've gone to school. So it is good to remove, but it is good to bring a solution that how is the Ministry of Education going to take all these children? I have 15,000 awaiting bursary to go who are in high school. In Dagoretti North. What do I do with these children? So the best is you have to have a solution. And because we know our country, and because we know for now, if we didn't even have that CDF, where would have been classrooms today in this in the country? Where would, I mean, so many things. So I think there's need also for a conversation with all the institutions, with also the judiciary, every institution of government, have a sitting and understand where is our country? What's our poverty levels after COVID? Are we able to move and sustain what we have? Our citizens really moving together with us, who are calling ourselves leaders, or we have decided to move 10 steps and we have left them, and then we will come and use it in a different way. I think it is time we now just settle, all of us. We've finished campaigns. Let us have a conversation as a country and ask ourselves, then everything we're just throwing on social media, we throw on media. Today we come, we say this, tomorrow this. We have a conversation and tone down the country and ask ourselves, how do we move on? I've just listened to the president's speech, and I think the steps he's saying are very, very vital in terms of building back and bringing back growth. But there is need of that conversation so that all of us can be on the same level, same page, understand the challenges that we have. Three arms of government start working together to bring back that growth.
Yeah, but the problem is we hate each other too much.
Absolutely.
That's the problem.
Like I saw Chebukati today decided you just sack Kulundu because of the politics.
Just like that.
It's wrong. And yet,
too much.
And that is what, again, and I'm sorry to tell the chairman, that's again what you did to Chiloba. I think it's also sometimes, if you know your institution is so infiltrated with politics, try and also manage. But don't become also the one who puts the sword to everyone. I don't think it's right. I don't think it's right.
Hold on, let me get some feedback here from people. There's a lot of feedback. Tweets coming in very thick and very fast here. And I was telling you, Chairman, we are our own worst enemy. That's what I told you earlier. True. Engineer Lazario Kanyambok says, who's been approving unnecessary, costly travel allowances where you find MCAs going for benchmarking abroad?
Governors. Yeah, we don't have that money to take them up. By the way, if you use the Assemblies money for travel, it's only 3 travels as per the law. 3 travels in a year for every MCA.
So you say the governors are the ones?
Oh, yes.
I don't think so, because a governor, when we receive our money, for example, in the Assembly, we manage our money. And in that vote, there's money for training locally, abroad, workshops, and also salaries and all these things. Once the money is released.
So how many trips do you give one MCA?
Actually, what Madam Werachi is saying, and which is correct, is that the resources within the Assembly there are very minimal. And even if you would want to take the MCAs outside there, you don't have that capacity.
You can't.
But to buy royalty, you find that the governors are controlling billions of money. To just take an MCA outside there, it's just chicken feed. They will not feed it, but Mwananchi at the grassroots will feed it. So that's why I'm saying that the money in the executive should not be used to solicit for support from the Assemblies.
And that's why people need the committee.
Yes, that's
yes.
Okay, Gad Mara is saying, please ask Degwa Wahome, what is the work of the County Assembly Forum, CAF, as its chairperson?
Yes, CAF, mainly we use it to lobby and to bring all the Assembly at sync, so that we have a conventional way of approaching issues. When we are approaching the Senate, like now we have been able to have amendments to the Public Finance Management Act, amendment to the County Government Act to deepen and entrench devolution. So we work together to ensure that devolution works for this country. Yes.
Okay. Musila John Musiyo says the now former Kajiado Speaker speaks for the many of us who appreciate budgeting for the counties as a very complex endeavor. We can't be electing illiterates and expect much in terms of county planning and development oversight. You know, you get what you pay for. I mean, you get what you deserve.
Precisely.
Right?
You put garbage in,
garbage out. Bingo. Linus Carola says, with the experience that these guys have shared, then county assemblies should have at least diploma holders as honorable members. Do you agree?
Yes.
At least diploma?
Yeah.
And what do you have now? Just ID? Kenyan ID?
Yes. No, Form 4.
No. Requirement on Form 4. There's not
ID.
Requirement. ID.
And a birth certificate, yes.
And you know, there was a proposal to bring degree, which was hit.
Which was killed.
It was killed like a stretch.
Fred Obuchi says interventions by CS devolution will bring about the interference of the national government on devolution.
Yes.
The CS is an appointee of the president, right?
Yeah.
You agree with that,
In
right?
total agreement. The CS should only guide policy and then keep off. Allow the assemblies
Deal
and
with
the
what
county
is
governments
national.
and the Senate to work on the other issues.
Stephen Disho had said at least, or maybe revive that role or make them work.
No,
I'm looking for that gap, who can fill it, because it's not there. It's there.
It's the weak link.
Yes, the weak link.
Honorable Guru Buvati says the greatest impediment for counties to progressively move forward is when governors move into office with a political baggage, where the supporters without qualifications want to be employed, the government, they say, claim to be formed.
Yes.
And again, this is where the ghost workers come in.
Yes.
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 Right?
Yes.
And there's lots in the counties. Ghost workers, left, right, and center.
Yeah.
And maybe, Jeff, to bring it to perspective, is that we have ceilings for how many you can employ.
Yeah.
And because there is this baggage, some have to be hidden in what, like in Nyandarua, they were calling that they are paying them through a process which is unknown in law, called the pay flex. So those who cannot fit within the ceiling. And obviously, they are not ghost workers. They are there, they are known, and they know who they benefit. But they will never be in any offices because they have no papers
and they get
to
paid.
sit in any office. Yes.
And it's because of they owe some
allegiance to the government.
Dennis Ondari says issues are well articulated there. I think the new incoming CS for devolution should address those issues urgently. Perhaps they need more capacity building.
Yes.
Who now? The workers? Who?
Actually, the MCAs and actually
the MCAs capacity building is a must.
Also the executive.
Is a must.
It's a continuous
process.
It's even in Parliament.
Yes.
For all new parliamentarians to understand and orient themselves and just get to now start working in their constituencies, you need a lot of capacity building.
Folks, let's conclude this. Let me get final thoughts. Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much, Jeff, for calling us for this engagement, and especially talking on a very important topic as the devolution, assemblies, the speakers. It has never been. I wish you called us
while you were speakers.
Yes, when we were there, and even. But we can still do with the ones who are coming up.
But like Chairman said, at least you're offering advice, unbiased.
Definitely, definitely.
I know you have
Precisely.
no
Exactly, yes.
Precisely.
So that from now, the issues that we are crying about here can be addressed from such forums. I'm reading here, so many people are watching and listening. And they say, oh, we didn't know about this. So I would urge you, Jeff, make this one as a very important platform for the speakers who are coming, including governors, those who are present, and actually mix, as I think the Chairman Emeritus suggested, call a governor, the speaker,
an MCA.
Maybe an MCA.
An MCA,
yes. Utasikia mambo mingi sana katikati yao. And from there, we can start healing. And even the powers that be can hear the cries that are coming from this bench and the front. Oh, is this real true?
Is this what happened?
Is this really what is happening? Yeah. So including that CS, including now the Senate, including the President invoking Article 187, because, oh, is this what has been happening? And then the question that Stephen Disho is asking today, 160 billion shillings in Kiambu for the last 10 years. You say, really? Really? So somebody will be called to account. Congratulations, Jeff, for such a wonderful bench this evening. God bless you. Thank you.
I can't believe 160 billion.
10 years.
That's a shame.
Taking an average of...
That's a shame.
Yeah.
Because when I go,
that way is the same
to
story.
Kiamba, I say...
Yeah, Kiamba, start from your own...
What's happening here?
Yes.
As councils with the 200 million were doing better.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yes, in Nyandarua, what the councils were doing with the 200 million, actually, even today, you can identify it. You can see it, and you can feel it, and you can touch it. But with the billions coming, and with the political correctness as a philosophy for this country, you don't see anything. Because you can eat everything, and then you are politically correct, nobody can touch you. So for the president, Dr. William Ruto, let him look and build institutions. He has suffered in the hands of weak institutions. I'm very happy that he hit the road running by appointing the 6 judges. And then he has committed 3 billion to the judiciary and to strengthen the judiciary fund. We are requesting that he does the same for the DCI. He has done very well to free the IG, that the IG now can go to Nyandarua and get it in the office and investigate, and he will have resources to do his work. We want the same to be done to the DPP. And when we have the whole criminal justice regime well funded and facilitated, and then it is allowed to be professional, then I think that most of these maladies will be cured and that we shall have a better country. The other issue is that let us, Jeff, the laws in this country are very elaborate, and I have said that. Let us be people, and the president has said that we shall be a country of constitutionalism, a country of constitutional order, a country that will respect the laws of the land. Let us see it happening in reality, because we know in this country many things have been said. Let us see this happening. And I'm telling you, we shall have a better country. There is no country in the world that is better stationed than Kenya to grow and to prosper and for its people to live in dignity. And finally, because the issue of Kurudo has been mentioned, because somehow I have interacted with Wafula Chebukati at close quarters, and I know his reference to the rule of law and respect to the rule of law. Kurundu has not been sacked by anybody. It is only that those who are guilty are afraid. She has just been sent on compulsory leave and given a notice to show cause. Why she cannot be disciplined? Nobody has sacked her. And therefore, we even understand from the news that you have just read that she has done her reprise. And therefore, the necessary disciplinary committee will sit down and have her, as per the rules of natural justice, come and explain herself. If she is not guilty, she is innocent, she will go back to her job. If she is as guilty as charged, then we expect her to be punished. Otherwise, I know Wafula Chebukati as a man who observes and has reverence to the rule of law.
All right. Oshimiwa.
Let me not go there. First, I want to congratulate the MCAs and just to tell them that you have an opportunity and a privilege to serve. Go and serve your people. If you come in with the interest, with what you have spent, then you're going to have a big challenge, because now you'll start looking for the money and forget your ground, and you'll find them again and have a very hard time to convince them. So first, just go back. You are a legislator. I would wish to ask and request the governors. It is time, I think, you sit down with the MCAs. If there are allocations you can do, like the ward fund allocations, based on a good regulation that can assist in terms of how are they going to do that development, it will be very good, because you'll have harmonious county assemblies working for the sake of the people. The more we have conflict, the more the people in the different counties suffer. But at the same time also, let us not look at what is bad and just appreciate because it is good within me and it's correct because of the political status I have is now correct. It will kill this country. Let us call a spade. Where we have done wrong, let us say we've done wrong, correct it and do the right thing. For me, all I'm asking the chairman, I know there's a lot he has gone through. There's a lot all the staff have gone through. So for me, I don't mind your interdictions or what. What I'm just saying, let us be cautious, knowing very well it's an institution that has been infiltrated by politics. And let us manage the punishments, I don't know the what, in a manner where you appreciate this law. And let's not go now vilifying everyone because maybe they were working and they were friendly, the name, all those things. Let's not do that, because that's what we do. And we forget tomorrow we will be in the same way we started 2013 in this country, the same way. And I think if Chebukati survived when we had a nullification of 1.1 million, I think we should move on and say all of us have done wrong to this country. And we put this country, It's only that God safeguards this country.
God loves us, huh?
But all of us, even those who say, oh, you are good because you have pleased me at this time. To me, chairman is good because I went through an election and I won. But that does not mean we forget what we have done and put this country into a verge where we were about to just go haywire. And you're back the same, and we have moved. Let's not do that to others.
Yeah.
Yes.
Chairman, you get the last word.
Yeah, thank you very much, Jeff. I don't want to leave this bench having painted the picture that devolution is a total waste of time for the last 10 years. There are certainly achievements that counties have made. Devolution has improved livelihoods in some areas. It's not a fit-all kind of thing. And so in some areas it has worked. And I think it was the best thing that happened in this country, Chapter 11. Having said that, I wish to congratulate all the MCAs of the Republic of Kenya who are serving in the third assemblies with their respective speakers who have just taken office, and wish them well. And as I wish them well, tell them to serve with dignity, serve with respect, because these opportunities are God-given, and you owe it to Kenyans to do a good job. Do not compare yourself with anyone else, because we are all beautifully different.
Yeah.
Just do your job, and when your time comes to leave that office, at least you have a legacy to leave behind. Otherwise, Jeff, thank you for having us.
Thank you.
And one more thing.
Yes.
To the President, as you assemble your government, please give more thought to the Ministry of Devolution.
Yeah.
And try to tweak it so that the policies we are talking about that would enhance devolution in the counties and reduce wastage in the counties would be put in place as the government is being assembled.
Jeff, if I don't congratulate,
Yes.
if I don't congratulate
The President.
because no, the
MCs, yes, I
the
was
member
come to
for Nyandera started it. If I don't congratulate the MCAs,
Yes.
especially from Kiambu, who most of them are my good friends, I don't know where I'll go home to. So let me take this opportunity to congratulate all of you, the 92 MCAs, I think, this time round. Congratulations, members of the County Assembly. I am there for consultation. Just in case you have any problem, I am a guru, I am a Kamusi. Ask me, I'll tell you how to do it. I also want to congratulate the governors who have also been elected. The current governors, can you bring some change from the previous ones and do things rightly as per the law established, as the Honorable Degwa is saying? We don't need any other laws. Also, His Excellency, the President, William Ruto, you promised these people a change in everything. We are waiting in earnest. We are going to help you to bring that change. Congratulations, Mr. President. You spoke also very well in New York, and we were all proud. You have made us proud. About 7.2 billion people watched you.
Wow.
And so we are proud of our president. Some are saying without even reading somewhere.
Okay, Jeff, I want to congratulate.
That's good to have a woman on a bench. Yeah, I reminded them.
Congratulate
your members.
As well
of
as the
Assembly.
chair, Jeff, it would be very unfortunate that I don't congratulate the family within the assemblies. And actually, Jeff, there is the speaker for Siaya, Giorgio Konde.
Yes.
He has made history as the only speaker of a county assembly to be elected 3 times in a row.
No.
And Situma of Bungoma.
No,
Situma is
Situma
twice.
second.
Ah, okay.
Situma of Bungoma is twice. Philemon
Sablé.
Sablé.
Of Elgeyo
Marakwet is
Marakwet,
twice. Josiah Diriko is
Twice.
Embu, twice.
And I think Douglas Bido
Douglas Mbilu of Makueni.
is twice.
Yes.
And you two were twice.
And us, we were twice. So I really
You could have
want...
gone for a third one.
No, at least when I competed against my governor, it was not very kind to go and then work.
Right.
He wants to remove
Jeff,
him.
I
in
really want to congratulate all those speakers. It is not easy to be elected as a speaker, especially with a lot of vested interests that come from all sides, and also the over 2,000 MCs. who have found their way into the third dispensation, really congratulate you. And kindly let us be a country governed by the rule of law.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Stephen Disho.
Nairobi,
Beatrice Elijah.
let us not be on media on bad things. Nairobi, you are the capital city. I wish you well as you wait for your speaker
And Johnson
next week.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, folks.
Thank you.
We appreciate
Thank you,
it.
Jeff.
I learned a lot tonight, huh?
Thank
you.
Guys, and well done.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Good job, good job. At least it shows you love your country at the end of the day.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We have to love our country.
Absolutely.
Otherwise, where are we going to go?
Nowhere.
Nowhere to go.
There's no other Kenya.
We are not even loved outside there, so can we
Nice.
take care of our country?
Yes.
Thanks so much for being a part of Jeff Koinange Live, folks. Keep tweeting at Koinange Jeff, at Citizen TV Kenya, the hashtag JKLive. What a great show. What great insights. That's what you get when you watch The Bench. Thanks so much. Good night. Good luck.
Thank you.
God bless you all.
Trisdia.
God bless Kenya.